Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Kelly Souders and Brian Peterson, who are the story editors for this episode. We are talking about Smallville Season 4, Episode 9, Asylum. Episode that takes place right after the last one, but it was the mid-season premiere, as they call it nowadays, where they took a break over the winter for Christmas and New Year's and stuff. Came back in January. Now we have this. So, yeah. So in this episode, we get some guest stars, some returning guest stars. We always have guest stars. We get some returning guest stars. We got Lex in an asylum, hence the name. And yeah, so the episode starts with Clark entering Belle Reve Asylum, right? Where he interacts with 3 of his former rivals that he's faced in the past. Eric Summers, aka Leech, played by Sean Ashmore. Van McNulty, played by Jesse. Damn! There are like 3 different Jessies that I know. Jesse Hutch, who was in 2 episodes, he was the dude gets sucked to death, for lack of a better term. Jesse Metcalf. I also like to call him. He could have been Smallville's version of Bloodshot. Can't be Deadshot because he comes later, but Bloodshot. And finally, we get JTT, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, reprising his role of. I don't remember the character's name. But, yeah, so he's going to visit them, and then I like the orderly's response of, Matt, you should know a lot of people in here. Well, yeah, he put them in there. Isn't it well known that he put people in Belle Reve, these crazy people? Whatever. He visits Lex, and Lex is clearly still out of his mind. He's like, I saw what you could do. You can get me out of here. You wouldn't even break a sweat. You can get me out of here. You know, but he doesn't, and then that causes him to freak out. You're not my friend. I never want to see you again. And all the other people freaking out. But he does say, I know your secret. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell anyone. So Clark looks around. So Clark is conflicted. He wants to rescue Lex, but he knows he can't. Lex knows his secret. Like I said at the end of the last one, during the last episode I was talking about, he doesn't want Lex to be in there, but then if Lex is out and about with his secret, what does that do? That whole situation. We do get a scene with Pete later on where it kind of puts the perspective on it, where Pete's like, you can't trust him, Clark. He's Lex Luthor. I know your secret. You know how hard it is for someone. This is where we get kind of into Pete's story. I don't get much with Pete. Anyway, he's just like, you know how hard it is for me to keep your secret, Clark? I'm getting hounded all the time. People follow me around. The whole situation, it's, Lex tries to escape, and I've always been confused on this, but I think I understand it now. So he tries to escape. He beats the hell out of this orderly. He runs off, and he starts climbing this fence. And he gets to where it's barbed wire, and he just starts going, ah, ah, ah. And I'm like, why is he doing that? Like, is it electric? Is it an electric fence? Because, barbed wire touching your hand wouldn't cause you to scream out like that. Like, you're not, like Mike Rosenbaum said on, maybe he'll talk about how this was uncharacteristic, because he said on podcast, like when he gets hurt, he's not gonna go, owie, my hand. He's gonna be like, that sort of thing. So for him to go maybe that's a little out of character. I mean, Lex is sort of out of sorts at this point. So I don't know, but I don't know. It's just interesting. Stop flickering. Let me do this. Let me get the opening credits. And the B plot, we'll go over here quickly before I get to the rest of the episode. The B plot, so the A plot is that Lex is in the asylum. Clark wants to get him out, but then 3 of Clark's former rivals, that being Van, Eric, and JTT, are planning something. Excuse me, I needed that though. Are planning something, and they're going to use Lex as sort of a date and kind of get his help, sort of situation. Plus, Lionel wants to use radical shock therapy on Lex to erase his memories. And no one bats an eye at this. They're just like, okay. And Clark's like, no, I have to stop this. And, you know, like, he tells other people and they're just like, oh, well, it's too dangerous for you to go in there. And it's like, but think about this. No one stops to answer the question, the biggest question. Why? Why is Lionel trying to erase Lex's memories? No one asks those questions. To me, that is motive. That is, oh, there is something, you know. I'm just saying. But the B plot is that Lana is now in, what do you call it? She's trying to get her leg, physical therapy. She's in physical therapy and she meets Adam, played by Ian Somerhalder from The Vampire Diaries and Lost. A year before he would be on Lost, by the way. He plays Adam, who will be a recurring character for almost the rest of the season, until the episode Crisis, which will be his last appearance. And they do interesting things with his character, and it just sort of fizzles out because they didn't need him anymore, or he had to leave to film Lost, is what I think happened. Because I've always thought that his character sort of fizzles out. Like, they make his character go a complete psychopath by the end of his run, and then he just sort of, his end is just, oh, my body deteriorates, he's gone. We'll talk about that more when we get to Crisis. But, by the way, looking up thumbnail pictures for Crisis, you type in Smallville Crisis, you get the pictures from Crisis Not Even Earth. So I put Smallville Crisis Season 3 to get what I was looking for. Yeah. So it's all that, and people trying to talk Clark into going to see her. You know, she says she wants nothing to do with him. And even later, like in the next episode, she throws it back at Clark, I think it was the next episode, where she's like, you never came and saw me. You didn't want him to! And even when Mrs. Kent goes to pick her up later, she's like, well, I'm sorry Clark hasn't been to see you. And she's like, and Lana's like, well, it was kind of my fault. But now she's going to throw it back. I think that's the next episode, but I don't know. But yeah, so it's sort of like a courting ritual with Adam. He tells her, you know, you got to keep pushing through the pain. You know, if everyone stopped when they were in pain, this country wouldn't have been built. Which is, you know, funny. But you'll get there eventually. You know, I'm a heavier person, so I can't keep doing stuff. When I clean my apartment, let's say, I can clean for a certain amount of time and I have to sit down and take a break. You know. So it's not all, you know, for me, because I'm a little heavy set. I can't just keep going. I'm fatso, so you know. But, yeah. Meanwhile, back at the sanitarium, back at Belle Reef, the 3 wise men, for lack of a better term, Ian is Jason's, JTT. Jonathan Taylor Thomas's character, Ian, That's right. So Eric, Ian, and uh, Van, Ian, and Eric, known as Vi, or Eric, Van, and Ian, known as Evi, whatever, are hatching this plan to get out because they're seeing Clark. You know, he's going to visit Lex. So they're setting this up. And so they're like, Ian goes to Van's like, hey, I hear you have, I hear you know his weakness. So they get a meteor rock and waste of a character. All right, they make you think, okay, these two are gonna try to get revenge here. Okay, as soon as Ian gets the meteor rock, he duplicates himself, and then strangles Van to death with a dumbbell. That's it for his character. This character was such a badass. In an episode that was just okay, he was good in it. Jesse Metcalf's performance was good. And here, I'm like, okay, we could get this. You know, first time I watched this, we could get a good performance. No, he's gone. And why? Well, because we got Ian and his evil twin. So that's 3 if you count those 2 as 2. I don't know. Their plan is to lure Clark. When next time Clark comes back, they'll use the meteor rock against him, and then have Eric leech his powers from him. So that's the plan. So after Lex's escape, he's stuck in this weird little ancient Egyptian tomb made of plastic and metal, like a better term. He tries to convince his dad that he's okay, but in this scene, the performance is just like. And props to John Glover too, because from the way that Lex is acting, he is clearly not, not there. He's clearly not cured, but he's trying to play it like he is. And of course, you know that Lionel's not going to let him out until he does that radical shock therapy thing. But he's reading him this speech, and John Glover plays it straight. He's just standing there through this whole thing, and he could have been sarcastic. He could have been like done stuff with like, yeah, sure, oh yeah, you're okay the way you're talking. No, he plays it serious, and he spends on. And he goes, Lex, son, which he says a lot. You are in need of help, and I'm going to something to that effect. So because he's like, I know I do this, and I've seen the light, and what is the exact wording here? Or at least the semi-quoted. Something like that. And even down here, goes, well, you see, your escape sabotaged my attempts to get you out of here. Yeah, right. You just use that as an excuse to keep him in there. He's like, oh, well, you did that. But time comes, Clark decides he's got to go rescue Lex. Well, by the way, he and Chloe go to talk to this doctor and convince her not to do it because Chloe went through a malpractice suit that was dropped because Lionel Luther paid him off. And this guy's like a vegetable, this guy that's in there. She has a change of heart, but of course, Lionel can't have that happen. So, turns out she's dead now. Her car is wrapped around a tree. And to me, why even have her change her mind? If she changes her mind and then, nope, she's dead. What was the point? What was the point of having her change her mind if they're just going to kill her off and they're going to go ahead with this thing anyway because they need to do it? What was the point? I've never seen, I've never gotten the point of having an episode where someone is trying to stop this from happening and that character dies, or it's not stopped from happening. I see Clark's failure as it's part of the show. But for something like this, where oh no, I'm not gonna let it happen, and then she dies, and then it still happens, that's filler. We have about 10 minutes of the episode. We gotta kind of put some stuff in. That's what it seems like. You know what I mean? Because they gotta write for a 45-minute show, but then you gotta add where the commercial is gonna be. Some stuff just like on the cutting room floor, but I don't know. It just feels off. So they're gonna go ahead with the treatment anyway, because of course they are. Clark shows up to save him, but he gets knocked out by Ian, who has the meteor rock, and then they take him away, leaving Lex behind. But when Lex tries to go after him, he gets grabbed by orderlies and put into the shock treatment thing. Just as they're about to do it, though, that's when Eric decides to release the powers, and they can't get none enough power. Eventually, they're able to do it though, and they're able to use it on him. Eric's powers are leached, and then Clark's able to reverse it and leech the powers back. Sure, and then we get we get two things. One, he goes to see Lex, and Lex doesn't remember anything. He's like, I heard you came to visit me, and I was a less than cordial host. And then, in the scene with no dialogue, we just get music. Now that you're here, it's so far away. That song playing as he goes to Lana's welcome back party, and they just sort of look at each other, and she turns away, and he's just like, well, I fucked up. That's it. And it ends. You see her standing there with Chloe and Pete, who has no lines here, and it's just, no dialogue needed here. It's the eyes and the looks and stuff that you have, and that's good. This episode's good. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 Superman logos out of 5. Thought it was good. Not as good as the last one, but still good. I think this was another Beeman episode, so I think it was, but it was good. Yes, I just sniffed that. I had deodorant on, just my piss itchy. So what are your thoughts on this episode? In the comments, let me show. Is this off? This feels off. Because it was tilted. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.